Good afternoon. This is the JP Dinnell YouTube exclusive. What's going on, Lucas?
Hi.
We're going to have to change that wave. Anyways.
I don't know. I mean, it's...
Is it a thing? I feel like you're about to try to tell me it's a thing.
It's only because I've been using my joint warfare that my wrist has become this flexible. A few months ago, I had to wave from the elbow like a princess, but now I can wave like Mike Mitchell. Now I can wave like a Marine.
Now it's a Oh, goodness. We're going to get it.
To be specific, the Marine Mike Mitchell. That's the Marine that I can wave like. Not every Marine. I've never seen Cody wave like that. No. I don't think I've ever seen Cody wave. I've gotten several hearty handshakes from Cody.
Yeah.
And one bro hug, which made me feel really good. I was like,
you got a bro hug from Cody already?
Yeah.
I
pulled him in.
Okay.
Like I felt like.
But he didn't push.
No, he didn't push.
Like wasn't like
Nope.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. What do we got?
Well, we got questions. Do you want to give the folks some answers? Is that what we're doing
I'll
today?
give them something.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. So we have a ton of YouTube comments that we have not replied to. So
cool. Let's go.
Yeah, we just want all of y'all out there on our YouTube channel to know we are getting to a lot of the comments that are out there. There's been so many on just a couple of videos and a bunch on
the shorts.
Our shorts, yeah, which has been really cool seeing people talk about that. There was one in particular that comment, and I'm trying to find it, but the question was about episode 6. And in episode 6, we were talking about moral failures.
Okay.
And one of the things we talked about in particular was how to go from creating or from having bad habits to creating healthy habits. What you guys do at Echelon Front, particularly what you teach at FTX, is how to change habits and tendencies. What is the best starting place for somebody who's trying to create new, healthy habits and tendencies?
So you have to assess what you're trying to get to, and then reverse engineer it back.
Okay.
Like, if I'm trying to get back down to, being able to run 4 miles at a 8-minute pace, I need to be able to run a mile at an 8-minute pace first. And so I'm going to have to figure out a program that's going to get me on that path. And, and that's for physical, but, for other things in general, I mean, you just have to identify, okay, hey, what's the end state? What's your goal? What are you trying to accomplish? And then be intentional with thinking through, okay, what are the steps that I need to do along the way?
Right.
And I'm just using the running one as a very broad, very vague example so that people can try to take this and apply it to what they have going on.
It honestly feels like a little shade because you're trying to get me to run. That's what it feels like. It feels like you're reverse engineering me running right now, but I'm fine with it. I'm here for this.
Okay. Yeah. So if I want to be able to run 4 miles, I need to be able to run 3 miles.
Yeah.
And then before I can run 3 miles, I need to be able to run 2 miles, and then I need to be able to run a mile.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go out there, and honestly, for me, I would look at what am I capable of doing? And now for this, that means guess what I'm going to go do? I'm going to go do a run. And it's like, hey, can I run a mile? Okay. Am I running and jogging a mile? Am I jogging in a mile? Am I jogging and walking a mile? Or am I walking a mile? And if I can only walk a mile, that's fine. It's a starting point. So I at least have to understand, okay, what are my capabilities to give me a current starting point, and then figure out, okay, what needs to happen between now and then. And obviously there needs to be an increase in my capabilities. That means I need to be able to run a little bit faster each time and a little bit farther. And I need to keep increasing those things until I'm, all right, cool, I'm going and doing a 4-mile run. And I do a 4-mile run in 40 minutes. Cool. Well, not my goal, not where I needed to be, but it's still along that pathway to getting there. And so for business, it's like, hey, if my business needs to be making X amount of dollars each month, I need to know all my numbers. What are my sales and profits? Those are two different things.
That's a really good point, because a lot of people, whenever they go start a business, they don't think about sales and profits as two different things. They're like, oh, if we do this, we can make $1 million in sales. Well, if you had $990,000 in overhead,
yeah,
you had a $10,000 a year.
Yeah.
Right. That's not one of those things that enters into the excitement often of entrepreneurs, especially in like their first go around. I think that's a fantastic point.
So just understanding, you have to be a professional. You have to know the ins and outs of what you're trying to accomplish. And if you don't know the ins and outs, then you have to get that information. You have to seek it from either industry X. That's why hiring a business coach is critical. Hiring a fitness coach is critical. Hiring a coach that has the expertise in your industry is critical. If I wanted to start doing real estate investing and flipping, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to do some research. I'm going to learn as much as I can about the industry. I'm going to say, okay, hey, in order for me to be able to get into the industry, I have to be able to do these things. And then I'm going to start building relationships with people that are in the real estate industry so that I can get advice from them. I can get guidance from them. And then ultimately, it's like one or two different things. I can invest into a coach that's going to give me their blueprint and walk me through all my deals and know that it's going to cost me, or I'm going to do it on my own. And guess what? That's going to cost me too.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be some tuition payments along the way of me making mistakes and just not knowing what I need to know. So that's what I would do. The biggest thing is people overcomplicate this and they try to come up with perfect plans. You need to create a workable plan, make small iterative steps moving forward, and then make corrections as needed. And make sure you're documenting everything and creating SOPs along the way. But you have to know your numbers. It doesn't matter what you're trying to accomplish. Like, there are numbers involved with it, and you have to know your numbers.
How big of a consideration should time be in this? Because, like, let's say that you're, if the healthy habit that you're trying to create is in place of a negative habit that you had. Like, I realize that I'm struggling with alcoholism. I spend 2 hours every night at the bar. Now I'm going to create a new healthy habit. Well, I can exchange those 2 hours for 2 hours at the gym, right? So there's a replacement there. But from an entrepreneurial standpoint, like if your healthy habit that you're trying to create is to be more intentional about, communicating with your clients or your potential client base or whatever in order to try and grow your business, how do you work in what that new time allotment is going to have to be? Because that's taking time from somewhere. But how do you manage time when it comes to creating healthy habits?
Well, we've talked about using our calendar.
Yeah.
And, we use a planner from Echelon Front.
Yep.
And
execute.
Actually, one of the things that we offer at Echelon Front with our clients, and it's funny you asked this question because Leif and I were literally just talking about this today.
Which one is he? He's the blonde one?
Yeah, the blonde one. Let's see. Let's go. It is... We were just talking about this, and it's called... I don't want to screw up. It is...
Was it Bruiser Arms?
No.
Did it have to do with Bruiser Arms? No. By the way, if you guys haven't checked out Bruiser Arms pictures on Instagram, they're pretty dope.
I know that. I like what you're looking.
I have I've had to just really get into my prayer life about the things that I've seen on Bruiser Arms because my heart doth covet them. So that's my it's my area of sanctification I'm working on this week. Is my healthy habit is not to drool over the pictures that are there right now.
So one of the things that we went over at the muster, we got all the instructors together for an instructor curriculum training and just make sure everyone's on the same page. And we created an instructor curriculum guide that gives us basically, it's all the resources for all the things that we teach so that if you're, doing multiple things with clients. Anyways, right. We have a prioritize and execute time audit.
Oh,
yeah.
This is interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So it's something that we offer to our clients when we're working with them. And it just allows you, if you're using your calendar, you'll be able to do this on your own. Mm-hmm. But we talk about prioritize and execute, and this is for you to do an individual assessment with your time audit. And it's for you to figure out, you're basically tracking your day from, 6 a.m. till 12 a.m. And it's, you're going throughout the day, and you're figuring out, okay, hey, what time are you waking up? What time are you going to bed? What's the number of hours of sleep that you're getting in there? And then you're going through the day and tracking all of your stuff so that you can do an honest assessment. And it's like, okay, hey, where are you actually spending your time? What are some patterns? And so it's, we dive deep into that with our clients. And that, I was talking with Leif about this and just some of the stuff that I'm going to be working on with Leif and some of the other leaders in the company. And it's like, okay, me getting really, really dialed in with my calendar again is going to be needed.
Yeah.
I used to run my calendar like with 15-minute interval blocks, like everything was accounted for. And it allowed me to just stay on track and perform at a high level. And, that's one of the things that is going to help you when you're doing these things is like, hey, are you making the most of your time?
Yeah.
Like being busy isn't good. Like, are you putting in hard work? Are you putting in smart work? Is it strategic? These are the things that we have to be assessing.
There's a quote that I really love that was, it was something I read in a book called Reclaiming Glory about people that are replanting churches kind of across the U.S., like going into churches that are either dying or that are ready to be closed down and helping them to impact their community again. And he says, the guy's name is Mark Clifton. Mark says, what's amazing to me is how many of these people that I run into that overestimate what they can do in a year, but underestimate what they can do in a lifetime. And he was talking specifically about like how the different seasons of his life he's been able to accomplish different things, but he does this same kind of thing in his assessment is he'll go through his day and then he sort of journals back about how he spent his time. And he's mentioned like the amount of time that I waste during a day, that if I'm giving like the honest thing of like, how am I going to fit this other thing into my schedule? If I looked back like, oh, you know what? I went to go post something on social media, and instead of posting something on social media, I got stuck in a doom scroll for 30 minutes.
Yeah,
right?
It happens.
Yeah, I have at different periods whenever I've been managing social media accounts for either other people or for organizations that I've worked with, I've stopped using the social media account itself and used a proxy like Buffer or something like that, or TweetDeck, where I can go and I can put it into Buffer. So that way I'm actually never actually getting on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or any of those things. I'm going to Buffer so that I don't get stuck in this doom scroll. And that's one of the things that a lot of influencers, what makes them different from most people that use those apps is that they don't really look at the app. They go and they think about the content they're going to create. They create the content and then they're done with it. They don't look at it.
Actual content creators.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the difference.
They're not messing
They're being
with
professionals.
right. They're not messing with going and checking out things on Instagram all day long. They'll maybe look at that post 2 or 3 times, but that's it. It's their livelihood, and they're not allowing it to be one of those things that permeates any more than that. So. That idea that we overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in a lifetime, I think is interesting, because most of us, when we're creating healthy habits, we want that instant thing. When you're talking about reverse engineering something, thinking particularly about a quote from Arnold, and I know we've talked about him before, but he had this interaction with a reporter, and the reporter was like, "I don't understand bodybuilding." They looked at Arnold, and this guy said, he goes, "I would never want to look like you." And Arnold's response was,
"Don't worry.
You never will."
You never will.
Yeah. If you don't want to, then guess what? It's not going to happen because of the amount of time and effort and dedication it takes to do this kind of thing. So if somebody says, "I would never want your life," like, cool,
I believe you.
You're never going to have it, because you've already sort of shown that you don't have the discipline that is necessary to do the things that we're doing in order to accomplish those kinds of things. And it's interesting how much of that just comes down to creating little habits and tendencies and those kinds of changes. So reverse engineering then is the big answer to that question. Yeah. Start reverse engineering, and that's where we can get back to it.
And then reverse engineering, and I think a critical piece to that is the time audit.
Yeah.
Because then that makes you aware of like, what are you actually working on? Like, again, busy, are you working? Like, what are you actually working on? And, there's this misperception that we all have about ourselves that we're so much busier than we actually are. Yeah. Like you said, that guy, like, he looked back and he's like, oh my gosh. To me, I look at it like tracking macros. You think you're eating healthy, but until you start actually tracking your macros, and then you realize, oh, my protein is way low. The fats are way too high. You know what I mean? Like if you're really out of balance and you're not getting enough calories or getting way too many calories and the protein's super low, you're never going to get the results that you need for getting healthy and changing your physique. But once you start tracking everything, it's like, oh, everything has to now become calculated.
Right.
Because, hey, if that's a non-negotiable for you to hit those goals, then you're going to have to either one, not eat something or plan around it. And move. It's, like we talked about Jonathan and Ann with First in Nutrition, their whole thing is
Smiles.
I know Smiles McGee
Unbelievable.
is teaching people how to think, not what to think. And
Right.
when it comes to fitness, people really need to be taught how to think and to plan and be strategic. And Jonathan and Ann, I think, are probably two of the best that do that.
No doubt.
Good news for our YouTube exclusive peeps. Obviously, we're going to announce this on the other ones. We're not sure yet, but Jonathan and Ann want to work out something towards like some sort of a giveaway for our followers. Where they get like some free coaching and
that would be
something
awesome.
like that. So we'll figure that out.
Have a little thing for some people to get first in nutritioned.
Yes.
Get some expert coaching from those two.
Let's go.
So I think the last thing on this topic, when we're reverse engineering, like how far should we go? Right? Because it's easy to, especially if you're somebody like me that's the overactive, over-analytical brain, right? I can reverse engineer things so far to where I would have to make a really, really small change. However, like if that really, really small change is one that seems like a really difficult one for me to make, then the whole thing becomes insurmountable. So there has to be like a healthy point of reverse engineering. Yeah. And like, what is it? Is it different for each person, or is there kind of like a gauge that we can go by?
Well, I mean, I think that is going to depend, and that's why you have to do an honest assessment of like, what are you trying to change? What are you trying to accomplish? If it's, something in business, I mean, we could be talking like very detailed, like you're going to have to get very detailed on the plan because, as you know, in business from the consulting that you've done and just being around it and running a church, like guesstimates don't work.
No.
Like you have to know all the numbers, you know, and that's what Steven and I have been doing is just diving deep into all the numbers with Little Calico because that's what's required of a business.
Yeah.
As we're, projecting for growth and bringing on, potential investors to get us to that next level of growth, which is awesome. We've been able to do awesome where we're at. And we've been able to figure out, okay, hey, this is what's needed to be able to continue to, okay, hey, if the business is running in a manner that's breaking even and not losing money, this is where we're at, right? So knowing like, hey, this is losing money, this is breaking even, this is profits, which those are things that we know because that's what's required to run a business. Mm-hmm. But really diving deep into the numbers and say, okay, hey, what do we need to fine tune? And when we fine tune these things, it allows us to grow. And then also the potential of partnering with other people that want to invest into us to help, position ourselves for that growth at an expedited rate. You got to know all the details to be able to do that. That's not like, well, I think if we do this, we could do this. No. Hey, we have to know all those details. And if it's something like, hey, you're trying to lose weight and get in shape. Okay, well, lose weight and get in shape is pretty vague. And so that could be hey, Lucas, this week I just want you to stop eating anything with sugar, and that is highly processed. If you can focus on these things, let's do that for a week. Let's see how the body reacts, and then we'll make adjustments from there. We don't need to be tracking every single detail. If people were just to do these three things, they would notice a difference within a week or two. Stop eating sugar. So no candy, no soda, no alcohol. Okay. Avoid highly processed foods and walk for 30 minutes a day. Now, you're not going to become some crazy high-level athlete, but if you do those three things, what's going to happen?
You're going to get to play with your grandkids.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You'll be around to play with your grandkids.
Yeah.
You're going to have some longevity. And just doing that, it's crazy what it would do for somebody.
Yeah.
So somebody gets where they want to be, and it's like, okay. Like Lauren, who has been to the muster. He's been to a few musters.
Is this the Knudsen?
Yes. His wife was at the national muster with them.
Right.
And, seeing the pictures from Lauren from when we first met to a San Diego muster to now, I mean, he's gone from a double XL to an XL to a large shirt, bro. It's incredible.
That's awesome.
He looks like a completely different person. And he also went to Pursuit. So between Pursuit and his health changes, it's like, man, that is a new man.
He's got a lot of pictures with the Montgomerys.
Yeah.
From this most recent muster.
Well, yeah,
they've been helping him out.
Well, no. Well, what's cool is this is what's cool about Jonathan and Ann is if you're part of First in Nutrition, you're part of the family, like the group.
Yeah.
And so they do everything. Like, hey, if you're part of First in Nutrition, and if you're going to immersion camp, if you're going to like any of the Echelon Front events that they're at, like you're all doing stuff together.
That's cool.
They have created a community that's incredible.
That's awesome.
And they exemplify the principles that we teach at Echelon Front. So it's like, oh, weird. They're having success. I wonder why. But,
makes a little sense.
But so for Lauren, what he's done is he made small changes initially, and then he kept making changes along the way. What he's been able to do is create a lifestyle that's sustainable. And while he might be happy, he's not satisfied because he knows that he can do more, and he's going to do more. And that's I think those are two different spectrums.
Yeah.
And then you can find yourself wherever you fall between that is, hey, if what you're trying to change allows for gradual changes so that it becomes a lifestyle, cool. If you're growing, building, saving, scaling, starting, buying a business, any of those, hey, you've got to really, really dive deep into the details, know all the numbers, know all the ins and outs of that business, and create very detailed plans and stick to the plan and execute the plans. And then if adjustments need to be made, you need to be able to have the flexibility to stop, detach your emotions, think through it, and then continue to move forward. Small iterative decisions.
Right on.
So, cool. All right, y'all. Well, this has been another JP Dinnell YouTube exclusive episode. Thank you, Lucas. Appreciate the questions.
My pleasure.
The next one we do, I think we should maybe try to do like a rapid fire where it's like boom, 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 boom. See how many we can get done in a 20 to 30 minute window.
I'm totally down.
All right, cool. Down with the sickness. I like it.
Wow.
That's impressive.
Thank you.
Anyways, we appreciate you guys. Also, we have the event on June 11th that I'm going to be doing a full day Echelon Front Leadership Workshop in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It is open for individual ticket sales, so you can come solo, small team, large team. It don't matter. It will sell out. We're working. Actually, we have it. It is now certified. It's going to be certified for Texas first responders.
Yeah,
correct?
Texas Coalition of Law Enforcement, TCOL certified.
Okay,
We've got
so
a
it is
reporting
TCOL.
agency to do it, so you don't have to worry about reporting if you're first responder.
Dude,
Hop on in.
Let's go. So to sign up, go to the show notes anywhere that this podcast is hosted, which this one is only on YouTube. So
yeah,
we appreciate you guys. Hope you guys go out there, keep getting after it, and have an awesome day. Appreciate you guys.